I'm not your ordinary politician. I don't have people backing my campaign. Okay. I've had people ask to back it.
Right.
I've got several people that's wanted to donate money, and I'm going to stand alone and support my own campaign financially, because I'm not going to owe nobody nothing when I get elected.
Okay.
I ain't saying that's what happened in the past, but it's obvious looking in.
Right.
It goes on.
Today of sitting down with Jay Gunter. He is running for commissioner in Newton County for Precinct 3. Mr. Gunter, I appreciate you taking time, sitting down with me and just kind of talking about some of your vision, some of your thoughts for Newton County. But yeah, I really appreciate you sitting down, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming out.
So kind of give us an idea as to what really are your priorities for Precinct 3.
Man, my priorities for Precinct 3 is basically, I want to see everyone in Precinct 3 treated equally and fairly. And that's one thing throughout the years we've dealt with on the southern end of Precinct 3 especially is, and it's not just the southern end, there's also, you go out 63 toward the river.
Right.
There's a lot of roads out there that's being looked over.
Right.
And failed to get the attention that a lot of the other roads do.
Right.
And even up at the lake, there's even roads at the lake that don't get the attention that other roads do. And that's one vision I want to put out there for myself, if elected for Precinct 3, is we're going to treat everybody equally.
Okay.
I mean, just because so-and-so didn't vote for me or didn't support me in my campaign, that does not mean I'm not going to take care of my job and treat them just as well as the people that had my signs out and did support me. Right.
So that's your first priority. Make sure there's equity across the board.
Right.
What would you say, looking at Precinct 3, beyond the roads, what do you think? I mean, what are some of the other areas that you want to touch in on?
Well, the finances through the county. You know, we need to get more stern on our spending. There's been items purchased over the last several years that I do not agree with, that needed to be bought for a precinct, much less for the whole county.
Okay.
Such as some trucks. You know, there's you know, I'm in the trucking business, so I'm aware of what these trucks cost and what it takes to purchase these vehicles. And you know, there's service trucks that bought that's way overkill to service and maintain a precinct.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a cost that the taxpayers are paying that's uncalled for.
Okay.
So I feel like we need to cut back on some of the spending in certain areas. I'm not saying let's not purchase a truck, but we can go purchase a $50,000 truck or $60,000 truck versus a $160,000 truck. Sure. And save the county money, which in turn would go back into our budgets and stuff like that.
Gotcha. So specifically with the south end of the county, what do you feel like you're hearing? I mean, or really kind of stretched out across Precinct 3, but what's some of the feedback you're getting? Because you've been out here campaigning and meeting people and things like that, but you know, what's some of the things that you're hearing that the people feel like need to be addressed?
On the south end of the precinct, mainly down this way is the people concerned with the roads.
Okay.
That's one thing I've learned a lot since I signed up to get into the politics is not everybody really understands exactly what a commissioner does.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I would say probably 80% of the people think all a commissioner does is just work on roads.
Sure.
So you come down to certain areas and that's all they talk about is the roads. And you know, there's a big issue with roads down this way.
Yeah.
And that's probably the largest concern in this area is the roads not getting maintained. There's a couple of roads right here close that hadn't been touched in over a year.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, the commissioner from adjoining precinct comes up and blades the road, which I agree with this.
Sure.
Because of the way the precinct is split out in certain areas.
Sure.
I don't see why as commissioner, if I'm elected in Precinct 3, how I can't work with a commissioner that joins and maybe hit one of his roads if he's going to hit one of my roads in turn, if it saves the county money.
No doubt.
You know, and at the end of the game, we got to look at saving the county money. And if it costs the county money to road a road grader all the way over here just to maintain one road, then why can't I hit that road for him and maybe make a trade on something else down the road?
Yeah, no doubt. Because I mean, you know, there's a lot to be said for coming together and making the ends meet.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And so sometimes you have to do those types of things. What do you want to say to the people who maybe never met Jay Gunter? You know, people in Precinct 3 who's sitting here just looking at a list of names and they're questioning, well, who should I go with? You know, I've seen this many signs versus that many signs and this type of deal.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Kind of doing the name recognition.
And they're growing.
That's exactly, yeah.
The signs they start from here and they keep getting bigger and bigger.
You know, I'm waiting until we start having these billboards up on the side of the road.
Right.
You know, but I mean, to me, you know, what's the thing you want people to know about Jay Gunter? Because you are a business owner.
Right.
Why did you even get involved in this mess?
Man, why did I get involved in the politics? As I'm still asking myself the same question. Like I say, you know, I'm a taxpayer, and I hate seeing the taxpayers' money being spent the way they're being spent.
Right.
In my business, if you don't save, you're going to be out of business.
Right.
So the county is a business.
Sure.
If we don't save, the county's going to go broke. And that's why we can't get no growth in Newton County. Is taxes are astronomical. Everything's high. You know, we need to figure out a way to save money. And I'm about bringing in some industry. I am about that.
Sure.
But I'm also about, let's keep Newton. I mean, this ain't Houston. I mean, this is a small town. A lot of us live here because we enjoy this small town. And but we do need some industry here. We do need some businesses here.
Right.
I mean, we need tire shops.
Yeah.
We need some restaurants. We need stuff like that. We're not going to bring Motiva or Chevron up here and put in refineries.
Right.
You know, we got a good possibility as biofuel refinery coming in.
Sure.
It's not 100% locked in stone from what I gather, but if that comes in, hey, that's great.
Yeah.
You know, that's going to help boost our economy here. That's what we need. But I just don't see Newton becoming big city.
Yeah, no doubt.
And
I've always said Newton County is about 25 years behind Jasper County.
Right, yeah.
Just, I mean, and that's one of the bits of charm about it, because it is a slower pace. It is old school mentality.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the community. It's a kind of a community element here that you don't see in some other counties.
That's right.
You know.
But with that being said, if we can back down on our spending,
yeah,
if we can be more professional, so to speak, with following our guidelines and meeting our deadlines on contracts,
right,
read that fine print.
Right.
That's what gets you in a bind.
Yeah.
And just because somebody comes out here and waves a little money,
yeah,
don't mean we got to take it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I feel like if there's there's grants we need to go out for. You know, we need to look into stuff like that,
right,
and boost the economy and stuff here in Newton County. But we got to be careful also because of the fine print.
No doubt.
What comes up in 10 years?
Yeah.
You know, just because it looks good today, what's it going to be 10 years down the road? And we need to take a step back when this stuff is offered, or we get to looking into it and really read the fine print and make sure that's going to be the correct choice for Newton County.
No doubt, no doubt. And I mean, maybe if the Commissioner's Court would have had that perspective a decade ago,
that's right,
maybe we wouldn't be having to pay back this money.
That's right.
You know.
Now you asking why I decided to get into politics? This is the main reason right here. You know.
There you go.
And I feel like I can do that. You know, I do it with my own business. You know, I make a good living, and the thing with this politics is I'm not your ordinary politician. I don't have people backing my campaign. Okay. I've had people ask to back it.
Right.
I've got several people that's wanted to donate money, and I'm going to stand alone and support my own campaign financially, because I'm not going to owe nobody nothing when I get elected.
Okay.
And I ain't saying that's what happened in the past, but it's obvious looking in,
right,
it goes on.
Sure.
You know.
Well, I mean, Scripture does say that the borrower is slave to the lender.
That's exactly right.
And I mean, although there's this idea that, supporting, I'm supporting you over here, so you'll support me over here. This type of deal.
That's right.
That's an old concept, man.
Yes, sir. And I've got several endorsements, for my campaign, and from a lot of highly respected people, and people that I was very shocked that wanted to endorse my campaign. And a lot of the people that's endorsed me, they tell me the reason why is because throughout my years of growing up right here in Precinct 3,
right,
man, I got a reputation. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
Right. And
that's what a lot of people's come to me and told me, and they're holding me to that same standard.
Right.
If you get elected, don't change who you are today, because this is who we're endorsing.
Right.
And that's one thing that I'm pretty sure, I'm 48 years old.
Yeah.
I hadn't wavered from that till yet. So
no doubt.
That's going to be me. I am who I am, and that's it,
So for the rumors out there about Jake Gunter having political alliances and alignments, what do you have to say about that?
There is absolutely none. I have not spoke with a judge. I have not spoke with any of these other officials to get aligned with nobody.
There you go.
If I'm elected, you're electing Jay Gunter and Jay Gunter only.
Okay.
And that is it. I would imagine there's probably some of people that are elected that I'll be working with.
Right.
They're not going to like my ideas and my ways of doing things, because I will take a step back and look into a situation before we move forward.
No doubt.
And if we had to take a step back a couple of times till I have the clarity I need, or I can research and get to where we need to be to move forward into certain things,
right,
that's what we're going to do. I'm not going to just come here and agree with you because you seem to be a little bit smarter than me. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to say I'm smarter than anybody else.
Right.
But, I feel like we got to do a research. And that goes back to my years as a crane operator.
Okay.
It's kind of crazy to use that as a reference. But in crane operating, man, you better do some research.
Yeah.
You've got to look at the ground.
Yep.
And that's where we're at right now. We're on the ground. We got to look at what structure we have to stand upon.
That's right.
And then you got to build that crane.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at now, moving forward in my political stance, running for office.
No doubt.
After you get that crane built, that's when the work starts.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to the work starting. And if anybody knows me and my crane experience and operating experience,
yeah,
we're going to do it right the first time.
There you go.
Because if you don't do it right the first time, you got circumstances.
You got to come back and pay FEMA.
That's right. Exactly right. You got to come back and pay. And so that's where I'm at with all of it.
Okay.
I'm taking my personal experiences in life and putting into this campaign and basing my way of moving forward through my personal experiences in life.
There you go. Any last things you want to put out here to the people?
Man,
March 5th, right around the corner.
Right around the corner. And I guess people want to know who I am, my experience. I've lived right here in Precinct 3 the majority of my life. I'm 5th generation Gunter. I've lived right here on Lees Mill Road. strongly connected to Precinct 3. You go up 692, Gunter Hill.
Okay.
You know, at the foot of Gunter Hill, there's a cemetery. A lot of my ancestors buried there. You know, I have strong ties to Precinct 3, family related.
Okay.
And not just on the south end, but throughout the entire Precinct 3. I got my grandkids living just right down the road here, a quarter mile or so. You know, I want Precinct 3 to be the greatest place for my grandkids to grow up.
There you go.
And I feel like that's I'm going to apply that when elected. I want to make sure that Newton County and Precinct 3 remains the best place for my kids to be raised in,
right.
like I was. You know, I'm a 450 operator. Joined 450 in 2007. I'm second generation. My daddy joined in 74. So throughout all the training on equipment, everything you think of, from dozers, excavators, all the way up to cranes, we you know, we're trained, certified, and you know, competent in
right.
everything we do. So that goes back to talking about the guidelines and deadlines and paperwork and stuff like that. You know, nowadays there's a paper trail for everything.
Yeah.
And if you go looking at paper trails, it better be right.
Yeah.
And I brought this up a few weeks ago in a forum, and not to point anybody out or anything like that, but the paperwork is an important part of this county.
Right.
It goes back to paying back his $1.3 million.
Sure.
It goes back to everything you can think of from start to finish. You know, we've got to be proficient with our paperwork, meeting our deadlines, our guidelines, and reading the fine print and staying within our contracts.
Yeah.
And, you know, another thing is we have outside contractors coming in here doing work. Who's overseeing this work being done? Mm. Because work is not being done properly to begin with. Right down the road here, I can take you. We can make a ride here in just a little bit. I can show you. There's culverts that we put in that's already washed up 3 foot out of the ground. And if that culvert was put in properly the first time, we wouldn't be coming back and doing it the second time.
Right.
Now there's other driveways right here in the same area. Culvert's been pulled out, smaller culverts put in. Now they got to come back and dig it up and put another one in. That's the third time. Well, I understand it's an outside contractor, but that's taxpayer dollars.
Right.
We pay taxes from the time we make a dollar.
So, okay, so let me ask you this, because this is kind of catching me off guard a little bit. So you mean to tell me that Precinct 3 has been paying an outside contractor to come in and put in culverts?
Yes. Yes, and that's part of the grant, getting these roads asphalted and stuff like that. You know,
part of the grant monies?
Yes. So
the grant monies. Okay. Well, I don't know how that makes sense, but I mean at the same time, is what it is.
Yeah.
So you're basically
some of these roads are getting asphalted, and that's part of a grant that started several years back.
Okay.
And they're just now getting around to some of them. And but my point is, do it right the first time.
Sure.
And if you're going to bring an outside contractor in,
who's inspecting?
Who's inspecting? Who's quality control? Who's overseeing this to be done the first time? And I'm a strong believer in, you know, if you can't do it right, we'll find somebody else that can.
There you go.
You know.
Yeah, I think, what does the oil field have? Their motto is change the man or change the man.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. Yes, sir.
So, well, good deal, man. So March 5th, what number are you on the ballot?
I'm number 2 on the ballot.
Number 2 on the ballot.
Yes, sir.
And March 6th, we'll know what's up.
We'll see what's going on. I hope I get the opportunity to be the next commissioner for Precinct 3. I'm looking into this for not just a term. Mm-hmm. If elected, I'm going to give you 100%. And I'm 48 years old. Yeah. I look at it like if I can be elected this go around.
Yeah.
By the time I'm put in office, January 1st, I can put in 16 years easily and retire at a retirement age. And that's something I'm looking very forward to doing. So with that being said, I'm not here for one term. You know, if I get elected,
running for the long haul,
I think you'll see through my actions and my integrity and my experience on what to do. I think 4 more years from now, you won't have a problem trying to figure out who you're going to vote for. I want to be here for the long haul.